Is autism a broken system to fix or a different kind of brain? This is the 2025 answer to what is the autism spectrum from an autistic-affirming, evidence-based lens. For decades, autism was explained mostly through the medical model, symptoms, deficits, and what went wrong in the brain. Many science videos still spend more time hunting for a single cause than listening to autistic people. Today we know more. Large studies show autism is incredibly diverse, driven by many genetic and environmental factors, not one broken gene or one story. Clinically, autism is a neurodevelopmental condition. It describes differences in how the brain processes social cues, sensory input, interests, and flexibility, usually present from early life. But that one sentence hides enormous variation. Recent work with very large cohorts shows that early diagnosed kids and later diagnosed teens or adults can have different profiles and overlapping traits with ADHD, anxiety, or PTSD. Autism isn't a single box, it's a cluster of overlapping patterns. The spectrum is not a line from a little autistic to very autistic. It's more like a mixing board or a radar chart. Sensory sensitivity might be high, spoken language differences medium, executive function support needs low, or the reverse. Two autistic people can both be autistic and still look completely different on the surface. For years, research framed autistic people as lacking empathy or social skills. Then autistic researcher Damian Milton proposed the double empathy problem. What if the breakdown isn't a one-sided deficit, but a two-way mismatch between autistic and non-autistic communication styles? Studies now show autistic people often communicate and collaborate very effectively with each other. The friction appears mainly across neuromajority and neurodivergent lines. That lines up with the social model of disability. The problem isn't your brain is wrong. It's our systems weren't designed with you in mind. Genetics research has found hundreds of genes associated with increased likelihood of autism. But most autistic people don't share the same rare mutation, and people with the same variant can end up very different. Autism is highly heritable overall, but there is no single autism gene, and no realistic plan to find one root cause in a few months. Autistic advocates and many researchers now argue that instead of pouring most funding into hunting a cure, we need more research on support, accommodations, and quality of life. Any honest explanation of the spectrum has to talk about interventions and their goals. Applied behavior analysis, or ABA, is still widely marketed as the gold standard. It has a large research base for changing measurable behaviors. But that is exactly where the controversy lies. Critics, including many autistic adults, say ABA too often teaches children to mask, to hide stimming, force eye contact, and act normal, even when it is distressing. Research on masking links it to anxiety, depression, and other mental health harms. Modern neurodiversity-affirming practice focuses less on fixing the autistic person, and more on teaching communication options, adapting environments, building self-advocacy, and supporting families and schools to accommodate different brains. So, in 2025, what is the autism spectrum? It's a family of neurotypes, different ways brains develop and interact with the world. It's multidimensional and spiky, not a straight line from mild to severe. It's shaped by genes and environment, but not reducible to one cause or one story. And it is disabled not only by biology, but by barriers, stigma, and systems that refuse to bend. If you're autistic or wondering if you might be, you are not a failed neurotypical. You are a whole person with a brain that processes the world differently and deserves context, tools, and community. If you're non-autistic, the best thing you can do is update the frame. Stop asking, how do we make autistic people normal, and start asking, how do we make school, work, and relationships safer and more flexible for different brains? That is what people mean by the neurodiversity paradigm. Many kinds of minds, all part of human biodiversity. If a big science channel asked you, what is the autism spectrum? What is one thing you'd want included that most videos miss? Drop it in the comments so creators and professionals can see autistic priorities directly. Share this with someone who still imagines autism as a straight line, or who only hears about causes and fixes. Different brains are already here. The question now is whether we build a world that works for all of them.